Good morning. Ni hao. I'm Tony Robbins and you're not. I'm here today to share with you how you can have more unlimited power in your life. And over the next 429 hours of this seminar, you'd be like, kill him! How many have been around somebody you just wanted to shake them? How many have ever had this happen? Say I. If you change your state, can you change other people's state? Yes or no? But you got to know how you do it. I'll give you an example. Years ago, when I first started working with tennis players, way back when Andre Agassi, back in 1992, that's how far back it was. And with Andre, back in those days, he had been #1 in the world, and he fell from #1 to number 32. He was playing terribly. And he went through all kinds of training, and he was working on his wrist and his swing. And at that time, he had a girlfriend, and that girlfriend knew me, and she said, look, she said, you got to go see Tony Robbins. And he said, it was Brooke Shields at that time. They had not yet married. And Brooke said, you got to go see Tony Robbins. He goes, I don't need motivation. And he said, Tony's not a motivator. Tony's a strategist. And he can teach you exactly what you do when you're at your best and show you how to trigger it at will. He was so frustrated, he finally decided he'd meet with me because nothing else worked. So he came to my home, I'll never forget the day, and Andre's a really nice guy. But really nice people, when they get in a shitty state, they're really mean. I don't care who it is. How many know what I'm talking about here? Say, I. So sure enough, he comes, he sits down, and I said, well, Andre, tell me what's going on. He said, well, it's because, I'm having problems with this and having problems with that, and, I'm working on my swing. And I looked at him and I said, Andre, have you ever hit a tennis ball perfectly? He said, no. I said, the attitude could go first. He said, well, of course I've hit a tennis ball perfectly. I said, well, listen, when you hit a tennis ball perfectly, I want you to remember a time. Just remember any time in your life you hit a tennis ball that was just perfect. He said, okay. I said, were you thinking about your swing? He said, well, no. I said, that's right. You've never hit a tennis ball perfectly while you're thinking about your swing, and you're trying to make your tennis better be perfect by thinking about your swing. It'll never work. He goes, what am I supposed to do? I said, there is a state inside of you, just like every one of us in this room has a state, that when you get in that state, you're in the flow. It just happens. The words come out. The swing is natural. Whatever it is that you do, it just happens. How many know what I'm talking about here? Say I. We call that a peak state. When you're in that peak state, it just flows, or a flow state. Interestingly enough, I said, Andre, he said, well, how am I supposed to get back there? I'm trying to get back there. I said, you'll never get back there trying to think your way there. What I got to show you is what you do with your physical body and what you do with your focus that makes you there. And I said, I can show you right now. I'm no expert. All I did was I watched some films of you. And I said, you're going to watch with me and you're going to learn. So I brought out this videotape and I showed him when he'd won Wimbledon. And in those days, Andre Agassi had this thing called hair. A lot of it, right? He used to have this long ponytail. Remember that? And when he warmed up, he used to wear his Nike hat with a ponytail sticking out the back, right? So I show him the day he won Wimbledon, he walks out on the court like this. Takes his racket, puts it in his hand, takes the ball, bounces the ball a couple times, then puts the ball in his hand like this with the racket. And then he looks at the guy across that he's going to play against. He's looking right at him like this, like. And he takes his hand like this, and he puts it under his ponytail, and he goes. So I'm showing it to him, and as he's watching it, he starts to smile from ear to ear. I said, do you remember that moment? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, look what you're doing with your body. Look at how you're moving. Look at what is this thing? Because I don't know, I don't know, it just felt good. I said, when you're doing that, do you remember that moment? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, what were you focusing on when you were looking at him like that? He said, I was looking at him thinking, why did you even show up? Now I said, now I'm going to show you the difference. And I showed him a videotape now, took that one out, put the new one in, which was when he was at the French Open and he was annihilated. And he walks out before the match onto the court like this. He walks out like this. Kind of like Mr. Roper from Three's Company or something, He takes the ball and kind of bounces like this and kind of looks at the guy like this. I said, you remember that moment? He's not smiling now. He goes, oh, yeah. I said, remember what you're focusing on? He said, yeah, I remember the last time that guy beat me. So I said, look, all we got to do is do the thing. Here's the focus. And I had him start practicing doing it. It made him laugh, made him smile. But every time he did it, it changed his state. It changed his state because emotion comes from motion. But there are specific motions in you that create different feelings than other people. So you got to know the buttons to your own state. And once you know that, you can fire them off at will. And your state changes like that. So I helped him. I showed him what it was. We practiced it for about an hour and a half. He went out the next week and won. He won the second weekend. He won the third weekend. He lost the fourth weekend. Within 6 months, he was #1 in the world. And he gave me unbelievable public credit. Maybe too much. Maybe not. Because he had the ability and the talent and the skill, but I was showing him what to do to bring it back right now in this moment. It's not how smart are you, it's how smart are you right now. It's not how loving you are, it's how loving you are right now. Your ability to trigger now is the greatest gift in the world, and I want you to have that ability for yourself. So let's do a little test. Stand back up and grab yourself a partner. You need one partner. Grab a partner. You need one partner. If you can't find a partner, come out to the aisle. Put your hand up. You got to have a partner. Grab a buddy. Anybody at all. Grab them. Keep your hand up till you find a partner. Come out to the aisle. Find somebody with their hand up. Get aggressive. Look around you. Find somebody. If you can't get a partner, we just discovered your first problem. All right? Now, if you don't have a partner, join a group of 3. Decide in your partnership who is person A and who is person B. Okay, you just learned something about your partnership. If your partner said, I'm A, you're B, you just learned something, didn't you? If they said, what do you want to do? Right? If you'll do one, I'm A. Okay. Okay, I forgot this is an overachiever crowd. B is in charge. B is in charge. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Really simple exercise. How many think it would be valuable to know your Andre Agassi buttons, meaning the buttons that will put you in a strong state? How many want to know what these are? Say I. Well, the way we'll find them is by making a contrast, a comparison between 2 extreme states. So here's what I'm going to have you do. Person A, when I say now, I'm going to ask you to turn to person B, and I'm going to ask you to talk to them about something like that you want to influence them to do. Like if you were in business, you might want to influence them to do something for you. Or if you're in sales, to do that. If you're a mom, you're trying to influence your kids to do something, right? So I want you to try to influence them to do something. But I want you to do this in a state of mind where you don't believe they're going to do it, no matter what you say. In other words, I want you to try to convince them to do something, anything at all. Sell them a product, a service, you can make it up. Convince them that you're a good person, whatever it is. But I want you to do it in a state of mind where you feel uncertain, like you're not sure you're going to convince them, where you feel kind of like you hope it works, but you don't think so. So it might look like this. You might go like, you're really going to love making love to me. It's going to be a great experience for you, and I know you're going to love it. Now, I want you to deliberately be in a state where you don't believe it, what you're saying, you don't believe what you're saying, you're not convinced, you're not certain. Because I want person B to notice, what do you do with your face, your eyes, your shoulders, your voice, your body, when you're not sure about something, okay? So go ahead and try to convince them, and B, notice what they do. Go ahead, try to convince them, but you're not sure. Go ahead.